What's up, my XRP brothers from another mother and my cute XRP sisters? This is Rob with the Rob007 channel coming to you from beautiful Venice Island. Absolutely gorgeous day down at the beach. 5 out of 5, simply perfect weather. Title of this episode is definitely the good, bad, and ugly XRP episode. How low can we go? Watch this episode in the end, but hopefully I'll have you smiling by the time we finish and leave you on this episode. And it's especially hard on days like today. If you've been holding over 5 years, you know, whether it's a 2020 or earlier, you know, that's 5 years. And we all were kind of saying at the worst case by 2025, when November 22nd rolls around with the ISO complete migration of the banks and SWIFT and so forth to be done, that would be knee deep in tall cotton. And it's a bitter pill to swallow, just the concept with this date looming that we move into a whole nother year, 2026. But watch this episode to the end. You might think differently. And a disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor or anything I say on this channel is merely for educational and entertainment purposes only. And thank you as always as we march up to the next rung, 8,000 subscribers. Going to try to hit at least 10 by the end of this year. That's a great good goal. We got 40 days to do it. We got 2,000 subs away roughly. So indeed, if you are new to this channel and you want to help, hit the subscribe button to subscribe, the bell for notifications, that like button, tap it, slap it, whatever you are feeling for a Thursday. I'd slap it considering market in red. And if you do Twitter, follow me at Rob XRP007 on Twitter. Love my XRP Twitter family. And also, yeah, I'll do a special shout out to, I got these kind of in a little bit different order, and where did they go? Special shout out to Kent and his wife up in beautiful North Carolina, Catherine. Yeah, they are quite resilient. They actually had lost a substantial amount of XRP, which I believe was the majority of their XRP, and managed to build back their bag. They got 1/3 of their initial bag, but they got hacked and they got scammed over the phone. So anything can happen to the best of us. It has happened to me as well over the last 5 years. And so anyway, I cannot reiterate enough how important it is more than anything else just to get the custody part right. That includes cold storage as well, because I always hear nightmare stories about cold storage. So yes, that's why I like my top 3, which I'll always mention in the intro of this episode, where I like and hold my XRP for custody so I can sleep good at night. And in some cases also still get a yield. And also I want to do a shout out, a special shout out to Jimmy up in beautiful Ocala area, horse country. He did attend my XRP proper party back in Venice. It was great to chat with you again, Jimmy. And yes, I was happy to say that I was able to, hopefully not financial advice, kind of reshape the way he was thinking. He was thinking about taking a little profit and had a profit goal in mind. He says, Rob, I'm going to buy this and I'm going to buy back in. I said, yes, you can do that, but just remember, if you do that, you may not be able to buy back in. I gave last November as an example when XRP went from 50 cents to 67, 80, $1 up to $2. It never turned around to come back. And I usually trade on simple moving averages. I love trading. I don't do a lot of trading anymore. Did a lot in 2020. I trade off these simple moving averages of the 8-day, 21-day, and 55-day moving averages. And usually when you have a big push up, you get overextended even from the 8-day simple moving average. You're going to come back down, at least kiss it before you move up. If not, the 21-day are usually ones that you'll typically hit, and sometimes they'll go all the way down to the 55. Gives you a chance to kind of buy back in before it makes a leg up. Last November, it did not touch any of those. It just kept on going. So for me personally, I don't try to be cute, not even with 10% on my bags. I'll just sit on my damn hands, and there's a lesson learned on that. Hopefully I think he sees that as well. And also I have him believing that 3, 4, 5 digit, the 3 and 4 digit XRP might not be as far away as you think. Watch this episode to the end. And last but not least, he is also reallocating or contemplating reallocating all of it being on cold storage to say, hey, let's de-risk a little bit, and looking at some opportunities I have that not only that I consider the highest grade of custody, but also one that provides a yield and an ROI. So anyway, great chatting with you. Look forward to meeting you again, Jimmy. And also, speaking of those, here are my top 3 for custody, and one is iTrustCapital. Again, you guys had it. We're going to have them on the channel and an interview next Wednesday. They are 0 fees to custody, unheard, only 1% to execute trades, unbelievable. That's about 1/3 of like usual exchanges. And then they will have an ROI on your XRP most likely by the end of this quarter, if not by Q1. And then last but not least, open up an account. They give you a Benjamin Franklin for free. That's a $100 bill. Second one I like is in these, I give these tied for, for these are my 2 second place finishes. iTrustCapital, Caleb Brown's the other one. No fees on custody. You can pick up the phone, call your broker, and then what I like best, you can execute a trade. So when we go to Banana Zone and exchanges lock up and freeze, and they're not letting you do withdrawals, so forth, and then that you can actually get your sell order in and actually have it hit instead of watching it come back down. Last but not least, if you have to do a withdrawal, there are no withdrawal limits. Like you have to wait to get your money out, which is ridiculous. I have friends of mine that the one in particular that said you're going to have to wait up to 4 months before we can even let you withdraw and draw down your money. Let's talk about roughly like $1 million. We'll let you get $250,000 out this month, $250,000 next month, so forth. In this case, Caleb Brown, if you want to take out $1 million, you can take out $1 million. So anyway, and also the other one is my ROI on your XRP. OMG, as I like to say, it's the highest level of custody. I absolutely sleep the best at night knowing that it's over there. I cannot believe it. And also the yield is insane, and being able to yield and a ROI. And again, if you chat about me and give me a call, I'll tell you why that just went 10 times up, in my opinion. Of like, I cannot believe, I'm so blessed to have found this. And that's that one. Last but not least, Kraken, they'll give you between 75 and 150 bucks when you open up an account. And that's where I get my tightest trades. So it saves me money. Okay, and next week we'll get into the Patreon. We'll keep it short on this day. I do not want to run over. As we hit, I can't tell what the exact 5 minutes, maybe perhaps 5 minutes. I like to get it done in 5 minutes. That works. Currently, we got Bitcoin, again, just absolutely ugly. It did lose 90K. It's at 87K at the moment, down 3%. XRP is at $2. Tough to see it. Went all the way down to $1.97 per the Brent report. Shout out to you, Brewmaster Brent. And also, yeah, that's a crucial level to hold. So we'll see if we can hold it and close above it or around it would be good for Friday. And also our weekly close, we'll be watching it like a hawk. And how low can we go? And yes, it could actually go back, not financial advice, but we had that the largest liquidation event back last month, and it was the largest liquidation event. 10 times larger than COVID-19 and the FTX, I believe. And actually, it wicked down to $1.40 on that event. So will we see a candle close at $1.40? That's a total ouch. But if you're if you want to put some cheeky bits down there, not financial advice, maybe get lucky when we go down there. I'm crossing my fingers, $2 hold. Quote of the day is, there's an old saying, I'm not sure I can give credit to this, but always like to say personally for myself, it's not what happens to you in life, it's how you react. And so yes, we got the sky. So you're either A, the sky is falling and you're panicking, or B, you consider it a beautiful golden opportunity to once again accumulate at this price, or 3, you're just holding, you can't buy more and you're unfazed, neither shaken nor stirred, or D, you have to sell, and yeah, it's not only noise, it's ugly. So I hope it goes up by December when I have to scale out a little bit for first of the month. And let's see, and rule overwhelming, yeah. And also shorts are actually dominating right now, and they were up 40% on their shorts. And David Portnoy, who invested $1 million in XRP, I'm sure he's going, why didn't I just wait a couple of days? Only one date left for me, in my humble opinion, that I'm actually concerned about, and this is it. When I talk about when I will sell or consider selling any kind of significant amount, it will not be until this date happens. What date is that? We don't know when it is. That's when the Clarity Act passes, and we have a date that the Clarity Act will go into effect. And so we do not have any clue what right now without that law being passed. They're still working on the markup. So that's the only date. When I see that date, that's when I want to see what the price of XRP becomes on that date and thereafter. Minus us having an RCT. What's that? A reverse carry trade that could create a liquidity crisis. We'll be talking about that in this episode as well, because some do say price before regs. Quote of the day from Brad Garlinghouse. And if you ever, when you have these days where you're like, oh, the sky is falling, don't look any further than this, like Brad Garlinghouse, and see if he's bothered by it. Other than people in this space I can think about and to see, are they even stirred by this? And so Brad Garlinghouse, he chimes in, still the cat that ate the canary, says, pre-Thanksgiving run. He says, or should I call it a turkey trot? And he says, congrats to Bitwise, which did launch today. Bitwise did go live in the beginning per poolside chat. He was talking, the numbers are looking fantastic on Bitwise. Very optimistic that it could hit upwards of a 100 million. Not so fast. He pulled it back. The effect of the markets going down really affecting the launch of Bitwise and what they could do, because they are substantially larger than Canary Capital. But don't worry about it. It said all this will get traction, sooner than you think. And yes, we will be facing a supply shock. We'll be talking about that not too distant future. Kenny Wynn, shout out to you, Kenny. He says just the other ones we got lined up for Monday, and Monday could be absolutely huge with a Y. Franklin Templeton, that's the one that we actually thought was going to go live, I believe. I'm not sure what date we had that pegged for. Anyway, it did not, but Monday, latest, it's going to go live, and Grayscale goes live as well. Both of those should be massive, and there should be massive volumes. Wait until you see how much we do on that day. Cross our fingers, it's going to be epic and break records. Yeah, and for me personally, the only thing I have left that I can lay my hat on for optimism and hopium, and my pint, twice the pint half full for my XRP, is being able to measure and quantify, yes, XRP spot ETFs. So you can actually kind of look at that and say, okay, where can this send us in price? Again, I'm crossing my fingers that we will see that this takes hold, that it starts to move us from $20 to $50 to $100. Poolside chat actually talked about, hey, just the ETFs alone by the end of this year could yield that there are no XRP left by the end of the year. Todd, per the Todd report, shout out to you, Todd, says that was saying that we could have no XRP left by Saturday, November 22nd. Looks like that's not going to be the case now, but does it all evaporate between now and the end of the year? Can it happen? Absolutely true. We shall see. Yes, and again, I cannot believe that Saturday is that November 22nd. ISO 222 day, where all the banks are on board, all 11,000 connected to SWIFT and FedNow, and that will be a day where they can attach rich data, that is your XRP. So will it happen on that day? I don't know, but the stage is set, the chessboard set. We are getting one step closer for everything happen for XRP to be used as a bridge currency. And that Clarity Act only have 3 letters, a WTF. When will this happen? It seems like we're just dragging that out, not getting any good news on that one. We could be getting good news today. We could be getting good news tomorrow. We shall see. Will we have it by Thanksgiving? Not looking likely for that markup. Will we have it by the 18th? Let's cross fingers we do. Again, Brian Armstrong with Coinbase tends to think that yes, they will. That bank license, another like WTF. Where is our bank license, please? That's over 120 days plus now. And it just seems like they're waiting. They won't announce it until they're ready. So all this stuff, it's a timing thing. It's like when we're ready and we're ready to use this, we're all going to happen all at one time. Whether it's a Clarity bank license, we shall see. Things, again, are lining up, and we are running out a runway. For a little TA down by the beach, this is Blue. Shout out to you, Blue, up in Cedar Key. Trying to keep me square on some of my price. And he says, told you so. He says, next 2 weeks we're going to be going down. And he does talk about how in the stock market, people start to sell off things that are liquid, such as crypto and other things versus 401ks for Christmas and to buy Christmas with and the holidays. So yeah, will we see that happen? And but he does have a caveat to that. He says January and February will be explosive, to quote Blue. Shout out to you, Blue. Hope all is well. Breaking news, Japan's yen is collapsing. That was the news as of this morning. Pushing closer to that reverse carry trade. I did look at the numbers on that, absolutely staggering when you think about that. And will we see that happen before the end of the year or Q1? It's looming. We'll talk about it. SWIFT, that ISO 222. Did you know? Again, SWIFT moves $5 to $7 trillion a day. And what if we take those along with the derivative markets, what they do daily, and the FedNow? Per Jay Claver, that could add up to 25 trillion on a daily basis that could onboard and use XRP. And yeah, Willie and I are going to talk a little bit of Jay Claver now. So always great stuff. Enjoy it, brother. Always just like, and then today he kind of called it like it is. He says, and you're going to be in this space, you're going to get your haters. So just have, just let it fall off your back like water off a duck's back. And he says, I'm okay with it. And then I have to agree with him as well on that as well. It just comes with the territory. But he did say, price before regs, that notion I talked about. He actually spoke with the fine folks up at R3 Corda, and he says, yes, for them, XRP already has clarity, and they already have the go green light to use XRP if called for. They do not need the Clarity Act. I mentioned and alluded to this before with Hidden Road as well, with Hidden Road, for example, and that is through Alan with Staple Crew. Shout out to you, Alan. Also, Jay Claver went on to say that things are coming and lining up just perfectly, like I just mentioned some of the other events that happened. And he says, it's what we're finding out is that there's becoming, what did he say we got here? We got things could not line up more perfectly. And in the next few days, he thinks that things could happen in the next few days. What does that mean? What does it entail? Actually, I think he's leaning towards that reverse carry trade. And also, he thinks the tipping point is not necessarily that, but I think they need a scapegoat, and that scapegoat will be oil. Oil has the ability to be ticking up. And once that happens, yeah, we could actually see that liquidity crisis within the next 2 weeks, if not by the end of the year, into 2025. I think he's betting on it. He actually does have a bet on it, that event is going to happen, and that's how we reach a 4-digit XRP. And in his case, he's got a bet for a $750 XRP by the end of the year. He says the momentum for XRP growing at an exponential level, enough that XRP will dry up on OTC, over the counter, in which case the only place you're going to be able to buy it is on the exchanges. And again, there's 3 billion max on XRP. Could be as little as 1.5 billion XRP left remaining on the exchanges per Todd at the Todd report. And yes, and I think I mentioned this last episode, he's talking about on one of his Q&As, he said, yeah, it's going to be a good Thanksgiving. Define good. Well, we're $2 now. Next Thursday is going to be Thanksgiving. You think that would at least mean an all-time high. Ideally, it means a $10, $12, maybe $20 XRP, but certainly above $4. So will we get that good Thanksgiving? Comment down below right now and just feel like, no, we could be like $1.50 for all we know. And then he said it was going to be a great Christmas with a big smile on his face, like the cat that ate canaries. Well, just like Brad Garlinghouse. And, and you get, how does he define great? And I'm thinking, is that $20, $50, or $100? Well, now that I got to just think on it over the last, 12 hours or so, I think he's thinking about that 4-digit XRP. Sounds crazy. I think he thinks that could happen and that we could see that. So not just a 10 or 20 or 50 or $100 XRP, but Christmas could welcome in an XRP that's well into the high 3 digits, whether it's $500 or even $1,000 or higher XRP. What would you do? Comment down below. I know a lot of you guys would be thinking about that bigger boat. And I want to do a shout out to Crypto Sensei. Sometimes I think I get animated with him. When I see myself talking, I say, man, Crypto Sensei would be doing the same. So I got to meet you, Crypto Sensei. I got to drop you a line. If you guys follow Crypto Sensei, drop him a note that Rob007 said hi and see if we can't get us to connect on each other's channels. And so as we wind up this episode, hopefully I'm not too much over. 12 and a half minutes going on 13 good. We can wrap it up in the next 2. And keep this puppy under 15 minutes. This is Burton on X. Listen up on this one, because this might be my most favorite thing I have in this episode is this one right here. And it's a thing of beauty, because forget about Christmas. Well, let's talk about Monday, right? Burton on X says multiple ETFs to launch tomorrow. What if they do carte blanche, launch them all, including the BlackRock? Wouldn't that be splendid? And then he says Bitcoin crashes, and that you see the rotation of Bitcoin ETFs rotating into, guess what? Yes, you guess it, XRP ETF. If that money rotated into this one, think of the volume that could be. That could be absolutely overwhelming. And then he says, next thing to happen is, guess what? We decouple from Bitcoin. It's not if, but when that happens, it'll be a thing of beauty to see Bitcoin going in this direction and our XRP going in this direction. Be prepared for some tall, big God's green candle. I'll never forget when I got back into 2020, when I first got in, waking up in the morning and seeing a 42% candle, and over 3 weeks it did a 300% move. It was the thing of beauty. I'll never forget it. And last but not least, he says the oil catalyst for reverse carry trade to happen on Sunday. And so there you go. There's your liquidity crisis. Does it begin on Sunday? Less than just 72 hours away. Comment down below. And as we saved the best for last, this is from, yes, I'm not sure who it's even from. I can't read my own writing on this one, but it says December 1. You know, it's like, you know, makes me kind of think, you know, way things are lining up for the end of the year. All right. By December 1. What's the price of XRP going to be? You know, it's like I was really hoping for at least a $5 XRP, if not 10 or 20. You know, this time last year, thinking about it, well, shoot, I mean, even like 9 months or 3 months ago. But are we going to see $2 XRP in a month? Will we even see $1.50? Comment down below. Hopefully we see at least above all-time high. We got about, what, 10 days left for that. And then as we move into Christmas on the 25th of December, what will the price of XRP be? Well, Blues, he says if we get Blues' prediction of a sell-off, well, we still may be lamenting a $2 XRP, if not lower, maybe a little higher. And those ETFs, if they take root, we could be staring at a $20 XRP. That is my prayer, that we have a minimum to start and celebrate Christmas with a $20 XRP. If we get a $100 XRP because of ETFs and a supply shock, well, that's going to be absolutely that would be, yes, 42 days away. And yeah, my hope is $20 end of you know, by December, Christmas. And yes, also that $100, if we hit it by Christmas or end of the year, and I do have a bet on that, by the way, with my executive producer, 100%, that's a moon landing Lambo for me. But if we get a reverse carry trade and we happen to wake up to a $1,000 XRP, whether it's this Monday or Christmas Eve before then or before, yeah, I actually call that's like, for XRP to settle back into the stock market and derivatives and so forth. Well, that's for me is let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars while sailing. You got it on the bigger boat. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Hang strong, hang tough, diamond heads. Peace out.